Hello artists! Today you're going to be making a cute little bird out of your air dry clay. So what you'll need for this is the little baggie that I sent home with the clay, the pipe cleaners, and the beads. You'll need a little cup of water, either a piece of newspaper or paper towel or something to protect your work surface. And I'm going to use this little wooden skewer. You can use a sharp pencil, or if you happen to have a shish kebab skewer in your kitchen, you could ask mom or dad. That would work beautifully too, but just something that has kind of a point. So anything you can find that has a point, like a sharp pencil would have, will work. Okay, so we're gonna work on the body right now, and it has several different parts. So I'm gonna make sure that I take a little bit of my clay, just a small amount, and put it to the side, just so that I don't run out of clay before I have everything made. All right, and I'm gonna take the large piece and I'm gonna begin flattening it out into what is called a slab. Now I don't want my slab to be too thin because then it's gonna be fragile and more likely to break. So I have kept it pretty thick. You can kind of see how thick it is there. And the first thing I'm gonna do is, with my little skewer, I am just barely pressing down to sort of get a half circle drawn on there. And I'm happy with it. So now, if I wasn't, I could always rough this up and try to draw it again. But I am happy with it. So now I'm gonna press down really hard, and I'm gonna use the skewer to cut the clay. And it just glides right through. Okay, so now that I have my half circle for the body, I have some cleanup to do, because you see how it's kind of rough around the edges? If I dip my finger in the water, I can glide it over those rough edges and it smooths out beautifully. And you can kind of see how I did that up there. I would do that all around. I would make all this as perfect as I could make it. Okay. I'm gonna set that to the side because now I need a wing. And the wing is the exact same shape as the body. It's a half circle, but it's half the size. You can kind of see that on here. Okay, so I'm gonna roll this, kind of flatten it out into another slab. Kind of like to call it a pancake, but technically when you're talking about clay, we call it a slab. Okay, and now I can pencil in another half circle that is about half the size of what I did first. I like it, so now I can carve it out with my skewer. Oops. Okay. And I definitely have some cleanup to do, so I would dip my finger in the water and I would clean all this up. I'm not going to do that for the sake of the video. I'm going to keep working, but I would for sure do that if I was taking my time and not making a video for you all. Okay, so I'm gonna set this over to the side, and I have to make the eyes and the beak. So I'm gonna take all the clay I've left. I have quite a bit left. If you have leftover clay, make whatever you want with it and send me a picture. I'd love to see. Okay, so I'm going to make my eyes now, and I want them to be the same size. So I'm gonna try and get two pieces of clay that are the same exact size. These seem kind of big. You know what? I'm gonna take more away. Oh, that seems better. Okay, I'm gonna roll these into spheres, which, remember, a sphere is a three-dimensional shape that looks like a ball. And then I'm going to squish them with my finger and thumb to make the eyes. Okay, so now I have eyes. And the last thing I need is that beak. So I'm going to take a little bit more clay, and I'm going to roll the clay into what is called a coil. You've probably done this before and called it a snake. I know I've called it a snake, but the clay term is a coil. And I'm going to kind of work on the ends to make the ends pointy, just like a beak would be. And then once I am happy with that, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half to make my beak. And there it is. Okay, so I have all my parts, but if I just stick them together like this, when everything dries, it's all just gonna fall right off. I have to do something called score the clay, which means that I'm drawing lines in the surface of the clay. I'm roughing it up, and then I'm gonna put some water on here. I'm going to join it that way. I'm going to do the same with the eyes. I would score them, put some water on there, score up here where I want them, put some water, put one eye, rough it up, two eye, and then the beak. I'm going to score, put some water, and then it's done. Now you're gonna need to let this dry overnight. Well, actually first, before you let it dry, take your little tool and you're going to gently poke holes for the legs. And then if you want it to hang, I did send a pipe cleaner to do that, and you can poke some holes in the top. Now you're gonna want your clay to dry fully before you put the legs on, but when it is dry, you're going to stick the pipe cleaner through the holes and pull out the legs. You can put the beads on there, and then I'm gonna show you really quickly how to do the toes. If I can get this off, goodness, let me try this one, because it should be like a bread tie. Okay, yeah. You have a toe and then your leg. After you have your beads on there, if you put your toe on there to make a plus sign, and then you twist them together, twist, twist, it's not only gonna give you 3 little bird toes, but it's also gonna hold your beads on, okay? I twisted mine the wrong way, like that. So that is how you make your bird. If you wanna paint it, if you have paint at home, do that. Take a picture and send it to me on Seesaw. Have fun, little artists.